Well, I've been a victim of hate crime. Interestingly, the hate crime I've been a victim of wasn't racism, it was disability hate. And I had two incidents that have happened to me. The first one was when I was out with my friend and we were near Jubilee Library, and I was waiting for her. She'd gone into Starbucks to get us a coffee, and just before she came out, I wasn't blocking anybody's way, I'm in a wheelchair as you can see, and these two young men stomped past me. One of them sort of turned to look at me and went, "You effing cripple," and then walked on, and I sat there stunned. And there was people going past, but I don't know if they heard them or if they were too embarrassed. I mean, it certainly sounded loud enough, and I just sat there and I couldn't move. I was so shocked. I didn't know what to do, even though at that particular time we weren't here where I was working. I was with the anti-victimisation unit. We weren't working at that time with victims of disability hate crime. You know, that was LGBT or race and religion. So I just sat there, and my friend came out, and when I told her what had happened, well, she went nuts. And I'd seen where these two lads had gone. They'd actually gone into a tattoo shop. And she said, "Right, I'm going over to speak to them." I went, "No." She said, "We'll call the police." And I went, "No." And she went, "But you work for the police." And I went, "Well," I said, it's my word against theirs. I said, "I don't want to bother them with such a," because it was a Saturday and it was in the summer and it was busy, and I thought my colleagues are so busy, I don't want to bother them, you know. And it was only afterwards, I think that was shock speaking, because afterwards I thought, you know, Suchitra, you should have gone to the police with it. You work for them. But I was so shocked by it because it's never happened to me before, and you know, and I was really embarrassed. And I did the next day say to when I came in what had happened, and they said what my friend said: "Suchitra, you work with hate crime. You know. Well, they didn't say hate crime. They said you work with victims of racism." I said, and also what you said about shame and embarrassment. You know, it's always hard enough being in a wheelchair to have somebody do that to you, and that was quite a horrible experience. Although everybody was very kind and supportive here, and they said, you know, we would have helped you, but I was humiliated, and I just wanted to curl up into a ball. And I thought, do you know what? I've always had sympathy for anybody who had been a victim of racism, and I have been a victim of racism before, but I had more empathy at that point, because, you know, it was like, you think, why did somebody do that? There was no reason. I wasn't blocking their way. Even if I'd been blocking their way, you say, "Excuse me," but why? I kept asking that question, why? And it really upset me. And then a few years later, I was in St James's Street, and this very drunk, stoned young man decided that he would block me from going up the pathway, and started to be abusive to me about being in a wheelchair and trying to grab me. But what he didn't realise was there was a police officer behind him, and he got arrested, which I was very pleased about, but I was quite shocked by what had happened as well again, and very upset. This time, you know, I said, "Yeah, I'll give a statement, absolutely." But I went home, I felt really sort of I actually felt afraid, because the guy had tried to grab me, whereas before that had just been verbal, which had been shocking, but this was where the man was trying to grab hold of me. And so I didn't really want to come out of the flat, but my friend said to me, "Such, you can't do that, because if you do that, then you've given in to them." And I did do a statement, and I'll give the guy credit where credit's due. He pleaded guilty, you know, but it was a horrible experience. But I saw justice done, and that's what mattered to me, that I saw justice.